All right, Oval fans. I did not watch the episode live last night. I was playing with my Switch. But in any case, while on the outside, that might not seem like the best excuse, especially because it's like, Jeremy, this is the one and only show you have to review. And it ends next week. And then you're going to have an entire week off before the final week of May when we get a bunch of shows coming back at once. Touche. But I'm kind of glad I didn't watch this episode live, because if I was live tweeting, I would have just been ranting the entire time. This episode, and God, if you disagree, by all means, feel free to disagree in the comments section. But in my humble opinion, this episode was not good, because it had a couple moments. It had a few moments here and there. But overall, you know how much of a stickler I am for characters who act out of character. I don't think it was as bad as the Sister Season 2 finale, but this episode just reeked of characters who were just dumbasses. And look, just to give you, that's why I'm doing this cold opening, because it's like, if you don't want a ranty Jeremy, you probably want to click off the video. But this episode did exactly what I was afraid it would do. Prove that last week should have been the cutoff for the mid-season, because this episode did nothing positive for the story. It just made people look dumb. I got this feeling as soon as we got the first scene between Donald and Lily. I'm looking at Lily like, whoa, what you doing? You supposed to be undercover a mole. Like, well, what? Okay, so before going forward in this video, because like I said, I got a lot to get off my chest. Feel free to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Hit the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out when I post new content to the channel. Hit subscribe and follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And as always, if you would like to donate on PayPal or Cash App, it's very much appreciated. Not required, but I do appreciate it. So the first scene, I'm sorry. 3 out of 10. That was my score for the episode. I looked through my notes. I have about almost 3 pages of notes, but at the same time, what really just diminished the points for this episode was how dumb everybody was acting. So like I said, if you disagree, feel free to let me know. But I'd also appreciate it if you at least went through the entire video to understand why I feel the way I felt. That way, you can understand, that's why you gave it a low score. Maybe I would have given it a 5 out of 10, but I see why Jeremy scored it the way he did. All right. So it turns out, according to Lily, there's going to be a news special breaking down the woman who was murdered, Denise, and the 2 Secret Service agents who died as a result of it. And for some reason, I didn't have a problem with Lily saying that, because that's like public knowledge. That's like, public news. It's kind of the same thing I do on the channel, where sometimes I get information from behind the scenes that I don't want to put out there on the channel because it's not public knowledge. But if it's like a Deadline article, or, some other media outlet has covered, this cast member is leaving the show, or this cast member is joining the show, or this or that, then I don't mind sharing it. So Lily talking to Donald about that special, I don't have a problem with, because it's like, I started doing a special. Okay. But then she goes back to like back half of season 1 Lily, where she's trying to grill Donald. So who did the president kill? What the hell are you asking him that for? You're supposed to be getting information on the sly. You're just going up in his face. Who killed her, Donald? What happened, Donald? Look, if you want me to stick around, I need to know what's going on. And then he's basically said, like, look, as long as you're on my side, you have nothing to worry about. So I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck is Lily thinking? Okay, so then she calls Bobby. He's pissed off because of the fact, damn it, Lily, you haven't been checking in. Even though I'm annoyed by this, he is in character. I'll give him that. So she says, hey, I asked about the woman that the president killed, and Bobby's like, what the hell are you doing? Basically, Bobby was me. What are you doing, Lily? Damn, you're supposed to be patient and careful. Well, I miss you. I want to see you. Come here now. But didn't Lily tell Bobby an episode or two ago that, hey, as hard as this is for the both of us, you need to get back to your wife. I need to get back to my husband. We just need to ride things out to get through this alive. So why all of a sudden do you want him to come back? Oh, Lord, this is going to be one of those kind of reviews. Okay. How are you going to get Oh, I'll be there. How are you going to get there? The security there is crap. Are you sure about that? I'm Bobby, baby. Okay, all right. So Max overhears this, and there were Max, Barry. There were a couple. Barry. There were a couple of characters in the episode who had common sense. Max. I mean, say what you want about him being paranoid, but Max is like, "Are you sure about doing that? Are you sure that's smart?" And he's rightfully concerned. Like, well, last night you still on those raccoon people. Those people are harmless. Whew, look. Bobby might know about the Rakadushi, who they are, but I don't think he knows what they're about. Because if he's been watching Ruthless, harmless is not the word I'd use to describe them. So basically from there, Max is like, look, I'm worried about it. We're just sitting ducks out here. And Bob's like, look, man, we can see anything coming from a mile away. We can see, over 3 ridges. We're off the map. Don't worry about it. We're okay. And, Max is like, well, look, you sure about Lily and Diane? Yeah, what about them? Well, you might be confident in putting your life in the hands of those women, but not me. And at first I'm like, wait, did he just say women as in patronizing women, being sexist? But no, he's like, what do you know about them? And he's right. I mean, literally, would you be willing to gamble your life in the hands of Diane, who's, egotistical, Lily, who's just in way over her head, and of course, Bobby, who was kind of on the same wavelength of Max as being, calm, cool, and collected, but his feelings for Lily have compromised his own composure. So I agree with Max wholeheartedly. Look, and he's even like, hey, I got to get out of here. It's like, look, I'm just going to go somewhere else. I can't just sit around like a, sitting duck. And then Bobby's like, okay, all right, you say we need weapons? Because it's like, yeah, okay, we don't have weapons here. Come with me. So he goes in, tells him to close the door. It's almost like Black Ops. Hey, help me. He lifts up the rug and then opens a compartment, which has below the house, the floorboards of the house. Kind of reminded me of a Telltale Heart, Edgar Allan Poe. So he pulls out an army bag, because remember, he used to serve with Kyle, and a bag of weapons, just like, so I'm looking through the Barney bag, and I see a lot of things. Handguns and missiles and little grenades, and even some old string. Okay, throwback there. But in any case, Max is like, wait, you had this the whole time? Yes. The whole time? Yes. The whole time? Yes. I'm going to go see Lily. Asshole. Yeah, what did he do before he left? He's like, you had these whole time? I'm Bobby. It's like, get your ass out of here. It's my prerogative. Okay, so afterwards, we go over to Priscilla, who gets a call from Diane. Both of them not feeling too good. Obviously, we know the situations that they're going through, but they don't know the other's respective situation. So, Priscilla's actually, not going to work today. So, Diane's going to stop over before she goes to the White House so they can talk face to face, which is something I don't think they did back in earlier this season, right? Because wasn't Diane supposed to stop by Priscilla's, the day after she got fired and everything? So, guys, here's something else look, if you called it, you are absolutely correct. Give yourselves a pat on the back in regards to those 911 calls that Gene allegedly put in for Greg. What was it like? How many was it? Like 17 or 11? I forgot the numbers. I did an entire video on it. Was Greg abusive? So in any case, Jake called Sam and he asked, hey, did you get the email with the 911 calls from Gene? And then he's like, yeah, let me check it. Wait, there's nothing on here. Jake is like, wait, what? Because I literally just listened to him. Where'd you listen to him? Here in the office. Look, you need to get that thing back and secure it. Basically get the server that had the phone calls and the reports and secure it and give it to me because something's wrong. It's like, Sam, what's going on? I don't know. Yeah, well, I'll work on this later. So if you said, yeah, I think those reports and calls were falsified, seems like you're absolutely correct. I stand corrected. All right. So in any case, Priscilla comes in while he's about to get off the phone and He's like, you won't be late for work? No, I'm not going to work. Did you call in? This played out exactly how the preview. It's just Priscilla and her feelings, and I have nothing to say. She had the knife and all. Get out! Do you want to piss me off with this motherfucking knife in my hand? Just go on. Go on, Samuel. I couldn't. I'm sorry, Priscilla. I love the actress. She's extremely talented, but I do not like Priscilla at all this season. I really don't. I don't. So we go over to Richard and Nancy's house. We got Nancy and Barry sitting at the kitchen table, the dining table. Richard comes in. Hey, I made you breakfast. We're just like, I'll get some when I get to work. So, Barry's like, hey, Dad, Mommy's talking to you. Hey, what's going on? It's like, hey, Barry, what time are you meeting up with the money for Callie? He just kind of brushes off the question. Nancy looks at him too. And then, Mommy, aren't you going to say, just please tell Dad who Piggy's father is so we can get back to peace? And then, Richard just walks out. And he says, oh, I know who the father is. And then Nancy kind of gives him like the side eye, like, oh, shit. But then Richard, Barry's like, again, Mom, just tell him. Then he just leaves for work. So he also tells Richard that it's 9 p.m. And Richard's like, okay, 9. All right. Well, I'll see you before. Basically meaning you ain't going to go get you ain't going to see Ruth and the Raku alone. So when Barry tries to talk to Nancy, she's like, so where's Sharon? Barry doesn't know. And then I looked at some of the posts in the Oval Facebook group, and there are some people split on how this situation was handled. Nancy literally throws 2 different saucers of food at Barry because I get it. I'm an adult, but at the same time, I got parents like this. Well, mainly the dad like this. Where even when you're making a good point and you're not being disrespectful, all of a sudden you're being disrespectful and you get mad. Well, they get mad at you. I could not stand Nancy in this scene. I think this episode went out of its way to make me hate a lot of these characters for the decisions they made, the things that they said, and the way that they acted. I'm sorry if this review was kind of weird in places, but my brain could not... It took me 90 minutes to make it through the episode. I watched it at normal speed, mainly because the place that I usually watch my episodes, I don't know why they got rid of the option where I could double the speed. But I literally had to pause it. There were so many... I could think of... There were 5 times in this episode where I had to pause it and just take a few minutes to step away from my desk because I could not fathom what I was seeing. I was like... What the hell's going on? All right, so Barry gets up from the table, walks off. All right. Sick of this shit. Yeah, Nancy, so are we. Just tell Richard who the daddy is. Okay. Then we go over to Asshole, episode number 3. Next morning, Kyle and Dale. He basically makes Dale get up, get out. Because apparently, when Kyle went out to kill Laura, which apparently he did, and he's back in his bed. So... The ending of the last episode, Laura is dead. Yeah, it feels weird, right? It's like I didn't even really think of it until we were halfway through this scene between Kyle and Dale. It's like, oh wait, he did kill her. Wow. So apparently, he's drinking, getting high, and he's telling Dale to get out. And yeah, when he was gone, because he's like, well, Dale, if you really didn't want to see me again, if you really wanted to leave, then you would have left when I was gone last night. I would have, but you locked me in the room. Oh yeah, that's right. So basically he keeps saying, so are you going to ask how I am? You're an asshole. Wow, really? You're an asshole. And that's basically how this entire scene went. The only interesting part is when Dale got up to leave, he's like, oh, well, have fun at the pharmacy. How did you know that? I'm Secret Service, Dale. We know everything. And I know I'll be seeing you later again. Because he was like, you got to go to work. What if I just handcuff you over there to the wall, the door? Yeah, I got to go. So... Yeah, Dale, man, you should not have interacted with Kyle. You should have just stayed in the back of your trunk sipping on that beer, or better yet, taking that halfway invitation that Sharon said, hey, if you need a place to stay, why don't you go stay with Kareem? I mean, that would have been a lot better. Maybe you would have been in another room when Sharon and Kareem were getting it on, but you wouldn't be caught up in the shit you are now. All right, so we go over to Bobby knocking on the door to the bedroom where Lily is, and he basically pulls out a device and tosses it on the bed, and apparently it detects if there are any bugs, quote unquote, any recording devices within the house, and tells Lily, hey, you check that once a day. Because Lily's like, well, yeah, Donald made it clear he doesn't want any kind of, technology like that in the house. Basically like, yeah, I'm chief of staff, but I don't want anything like that in my house. Well, Lily, I get where you're coming from. Who did the president say he murdered? Donald, I get it. But given the fact that he doesn't really, well, obviously Kyle is the one who doesn't trust Lily as much as Donald. But I feel like after you mysteriously disappear and then come back, it wouldn't surprise me if Donald had bugs or something around the house. So for her to be so naive doesn't make a lot of sense. And I did think it was a funny joke because when he knocked on the door, it was like, oh, you knocked now. Well, yeah, I just didn't want to scare you. Because remember the last time he popped up in that bedroom, that's when Lily shot his ass. Okay, so when he just tries to express, well, yeah, I just wanted to check in with you to make sure you're okay, when he has his back turned, she takes off her dress. And I'm like, damn. Because remember in season 1, there was a long stretch of episodes where Lily was just walking around her lingerie with a robe. This time it's like, oh, damn. Damn. So from there, Lily, I don't know if we should shut up, gets him undressed and throws him in the bed. And I'm like, wow. Okay, well, Bobby, like, why would you even show up if you didn't even want it? Again, characters who are strange acting out of characters. I feel like one thing about this episode is like we spent a bit too much time on the sex faces. Yeah, because don't worry, we'll come back to them. Yeah, that leads to another question, but I'll talk about that later. Look, I'm not even done with my first page of notes, and this damn video is almost 20 minutes long. Okay, so we go over to Victoria and one of the White House, I think like her secretary or whatever, pretty much going over the details of, hey, I think we need to make a social media statement about your mother's passing. How about things about the memorial? And what if you do some kind of, oh yeah, then Victoria's like, I think I need to make some kind of public gesture, not just on social media. How about we go to some sort of school? Oh yeah, children's center. How about Harriet Tubman School? No. Why not? I mean, I don't want to be around those black kids. Are you kidding? It's like, you're the first, I mean, well, not first, but you're a black first lady. Don't you think it would be empowering? I don't want to be in that kind of area with bugs and roaches and smoke and dirt with my nice stuff. I don't want to be around no badass kids. Now, I'm kind of iffy on this. If number one, if Victoria really would just say something like this, or number two, if her son being a killer makes her not want to be around any badass kids, like those baby's kids. So I'm really curious, but something tells me Victoria would still act like this because she even brings up, well, yeah, they had Michelle Obama, but she did that. Yeah, but she actually liked those kids. Victoria never changed. So she basically was like, yeah, go ahead, come up with some BS about my mother. Just say I'm grieving in private, and we'll leave it at that. So Hunter shows up right as the assistant, steps away to do her job. And he's relatively nice. It's like, hey, how are you? Hunter? Yeah, I just wanted to remind you about the therapy session we have with Dr. Meadows. You're high right now. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God. Because for like this, if it wasn't for him being high, I would have been like, okay, yeah, everybody in this episode is acting out of character, but he's relatively pleasant, I guess. Maybe because the whole Ellie underwear situation, or he's just kind of, okay, Hunter is a little bit of a background character this episode, so he's not going to be that much of an asshole. But no, he's just high. All right, so then we go over to Diane and Priscilla. She has a early morning wine, and they're going to have coffee. She notices Priscilla ignoring a call from Sam, and here we go with Priscilla's knack for not wanting to talk about it. I mean, that's a major character thing that a lot of fans point out, that Priscilla wants to be quote unquote positive, friendly, slightly intrusive, but also helpful. But at the same time, she refuses to allow any of her dirty laundry to fly out there or hang out there. So she kind of calls Diane about, hey, look, don't be publicist or no press secretary, will former press secretary. Look, Donald wants me to come see her. I mean, sorry. Donald wants to see her. That's what my notes say. Donald called because he wants Diane to come over. Priscilla is like, hey, be careful. I don't know. Something seems wrong about this. And she hands Priscilla this humongous package. I mean, just a huge, sorry, I got to flip the page. Huge package. And it's like, look, if you don't hear from me by 5 o'clock, give this to Sam. Look, Sam is a good person, good man. He always does what's right. Oh, yeah, he always does what's right there in front of him. We're getting to that. And I'm just like, okay. Because I think Diane, because of when she brings up the first lady and Priscilla's like, yeah, she's a bitch. I think Diane kind of knows that, wait, I get it. You're ignoring Sam's phone calls. I know something's wrong. You're overly angry about the first lady. I see what's going on here. Honestly, I know that she was press secretary, but I was a bit surprised that Priscilla did not once say anything about Jean. Because remember, Jean's quote-unquote death, murder, or whatever, that's public news because that was on TV. So I was a little bit surprised. But then again, Priscilla just does not like to talk about what she's going through. So in any case, I'm mad because it's like, okay, here we go again. This whole Jean investigation and whatnot. Priscilla, I know you're mad at Sam, but he's the head of Secret Service. Damn, you would think you would tell him what's going on so you could figure it out together. But no, you're refusing to talk to him. So bet money, something's going to happen. Diane doesn't call Priscilla and she's going to not give him that information. And I'm like, oh, that's what I think. All right, so we go over to, wait, are they cutting grass? So if you hear any background noise later on in the video, they're cutting grass. All right, so then we go over to Alan and Jason. You know, Jason pops up in the office and it's like, oh, you must have had a bad night. You were ignoring my phone calls. Motherfucker, you trying to get him to kill people? No, he ain't like you. So if you ask me, it almost seems like Jason's knack for what his thing is going to be about for the rest of the season, it isn't so much Jason killing people. It's probably him trying to play puppeteer. Alan, you ought to kill my parents, maybe even Ellie or Priscilla. I saw Sam and Victoria together. So basically, you know, it's like he's going to be playing from behind the scenes while playing with himself and allowing everybody else to fall into chaos. It's almost as if Jason is like the Joker. If you've read The Killing Joke or watched that god awful animated adaptation, it's like Joker's thing of one bad day. It's like, I want to prove that any person, no matter how good, how, you know, positive, one bad day can send them over the deep end, just like it did with me. So I feel like that's the same thing Jason's trying to initiate here. So Alan keeps asking, Jason, could you please leave? You said you got to go to the O for therapy. Go ahead. I'm just going to get back to work. So, look, I know you're upset. But then Donald comes in. And this little, it's almost as if he kind of, didn't you see Jason kind of put his hand towards his throat? He almost made like a little beheading action with his head, like, I know where the weapons are. So then Donald's like, do you know him? Like, no, he comes by from time to time. Donald, Alan, what's wrong? I know something's wrong. No, sir, everything's good. Okay, well, please give me a coffee. Diane's supposed to come in. Can you buzz her in? Yes, sir. So then Kyle goes into Donald, and I did not even notice it until Kyle brought it up. The fact he had makeup on, because the earlier scene when he's in bed with Dale, you know, his face still bruised and banged up from Max because he tells him about how Max whooped his ass, but he's being smug. You know, Kyle's still smug about the fact that Donald's living with Lily again. And he basically gives him permission to go nuclear due to the fact that legit information about the cover-up has been leaked out. And we got to figure out who did it. Is it Max? Is it Diane? What's going on here? So then, hang on a second. Oh, yeah, he's on the phone with Hunter and basically saying, hey, Diane's coming in. We're going to clean up this mess. But what I need you to do is basically just sit there and say, Diane, I want you to come back. So we go over to the therapy session. I got to admit, this is a bit personal for me. So the president, you can, Hunter, he's still high. You can tell by the look on his face because you know what? Dr. Meadows is trying to greet everybody. Good morning. Okay. So we're here today. Look, we know why we're here. Well, let the woman speak. I'll let her speak as soon as you don't stare at her breast. And basically, Jason's like, oh, God. So, I will admit, while this scene was a bit heartfelt at one moment, I think the funniest scene because I think what really made this thing, I feel like Jason could have been a really compelling character if the serial killer thing and rapist wasn't a part of it. Because I think Jason's situation is something very common. The fact that he went through a lot growing up where it's like that Wyatt and Amanda on the haves and the have-nots. It's like, yeah, they were handed everything on a silver platter, but the one thing they were lacking was parental love. I mean, you could argue like, Jim Cryer and Amanda. Oh, yeah, Amanda was the apple of Jim's eye and everything. But at the same time, Wyatt is like the basket case of I never received love. Love. Yeah, money, position, best schooling. But at the same time, I was raped because my father didn't come to pick me up from camp. So with Jason, he pretty much talks about how when I was 5, it was a whole year where me and my sister, we didn't even see our parents because they were on the campaign trail. Whenever they showed up, it was only whenever we were with them, it was for photo opportunities. And she was like, you need to grow up. She hits me. And Victoria's face while Jason is saying this is priceless. Like, go back to that scene. Jason's talking, but look at the various facial expressions that Victoria is making. But then Victoria gets up because of the fact that she doesn't want to be blamed for anything. And she just gets up and gets out. She doesn't hear help. She doesn't hear pain. She hears that, oh, it's my fault everything went bad. And apparently the therapist knows all about the murder. So she knows everything. Which is something that I was a bit surprised but happy about. That way they're not dancing around the situation. I just feel like it's one of those things where, and if I'm not mistaken, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, hey, there we go. But she leaves and the doctor's like, hey, Jason, you and I will do one-on-one sessions in the office down the hall. And Jason gets up, fine, whatever. And then Hunter, hey, do you mind if you stop by after you're done? That way I can get like a progress report. She's like, okay, sure. And I'm like, what this fool say? Oh, I like to dance around those meadows. Like, Hunter, shut the hell up. Yeah, I can relate to that, basically in the sense of parent not wanting to. And it's not even the fact that you're blaming them, but you're trying to explain, hey, here's how I feel. But all they hear is blame and they don't want to hear it. So, yeah, I can relate to that. Thanks, Dad. Anyway, we go over to Donald and Diane. And Diane, she's like, oh, so you're here to offer my job? Am I here for my job back? And yes, you can have it back. But Diane wants to hear from Hunter himself. So they go over to the Oval. And you can just notice, you would think Diane, I don't know, maybe she's figuring, oh, yeah, things are so bad. They're begging me to come back. That's why Donald's being overly polite and everything. They go into the Oval. Hunter's like, hey, you know what? I want you to come back. You win. Everything has been falling apart. We need you back right away. So she asked, I need to ask one question. I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. But then Hunter's like, no, Donald's trying to interrupt, but Hunter's like, no, we'll tell her everything. So Hunter basically breaks down the entire Denise situation. My son killed her. Yeah, the panties were hers. We need to cover up this murder, assassination attempt. He basically goes through the entire laundry list. Like, okay, that's everything. And Denise is like, thank you, sir. Basically, you filled in all the blanks for me. Okay, I'm thinking, all right, that's good. Maybe she'll come up with some kind of cover story to secure her job. But at the same time, take all this information she has and leaks it to like Bobby and Max for their investigation. When Hunter's like, okay, that's everything. So what are you going to do about it? I had to go to the FBI. What the fuck, Diane? Okay, so Hunter's like, I'm the president. So basically, this is like the first time I recall Hunter spitting any political facts. I mean, yeah, in the 70s, there was a case and the law put into place that no serving president, so long as he's in office, can be convicted and thrown in jail. I'm like, wow, we definitely going with the Trump route here. So I'm thinking like until after you're out of office, I see how it is. If so, bravo, Tyler Perry, very well written. So basically, Diane just walks out. Is like, oh yeah, I'll show you how powerful you really are. And then she just went ahead and left the Oval. And Donald's like, sir, you just compromised our cleanup. And then Hunter's like, look, I told you once, I told you 100 effing times. She's your freaking problem. Well, technically, no. You're the one who had her fired in favor of Ellie, and now she tried to blackmail you with DNA by taking your underwear. So this is basically Hunter again being Hunter. Well, no, Hunter hasn't. Well, yeah, Hunter hasn't been out of character this episode. Like I said, his cordial demeanor earlier was him just being high. So yeah, he's basically made a huge mess and wants everybody to clean it up. I mean, to be quote unquote fair, and I use the term loosely, this is exactly what happened when he was governor, when he was mayor. He would just do all these dumbass things and have people clean it up. And him being president makes no difference. I mean, hell, he even told Diane, it's like, yeah, once everything's cleaned up, I need a new squeeze. Yeah, okay, whatever. So from there, two things happen. So Donald tells Kyle to take care of it, but then he gets another phone call and he's like, okay, I'll be on my way, right? I'll be right there right away. And I'm like, I wonder what that phone call was about. So Diane is, walking through the hallway. She's looking over her shoulder. Next thing you know, she kind of makes a little sprint because we see Kyle sneak up behind her. And when she makes to the elevator, Kyle jumps on there. And as soon as Diane tries to jump off, he grabs her and the door closes. So then we go over to Richard, who's apologizing to Frida, but it's like, look, I just want to have a good time. Look, you're in love with your wife. I ain't trying to be involved in this mess. Sam comes in, and then she's like, fine, I want to leave. And then Richard's like, well, I'll see you later. No, yeah. I forgot what she said. Leave me alone, Richard. But basically, this dude is just desperate and it's pathetic. So Sam goes just to check in and see, what's going on. And Richard's like, did you know Picky is Nancy's son? No. Well, when we served together, you were at home for 1 month for your father's funeral. And then that 1 month lines up to the 9 months Nancy was... Basically, he's suspecting Sam is the father, Richard. And then two secret agents walk in. It's like, First Lady needs you right away. Well, tell her to wait. Like, look, I don't think she's going to wait a minute. Sorry, Mr. Richard. So, damn it. So, last page of notes here. He rushes in. First Lady, man, what's wrong? And I'm always blamed for everything. See, here's the thing. Even though I think it was messed up how Victoria reacted to Jason expressing himself to the therapist, it's also what we learned about Victoria in season 1. The fact that she was, born out of an affair, a darker complexion than the rest of her siblings, treated like an outcast by her family. So I can understand her. Basically, she's lashing out. When Jason it's almost as if Jason was in a position that Victoria wishes she could have had. The ability to express how she feels and how her parents pretty much shaped who she is, but all she hears is blame. So that is actually good writing. So she hugs him. Oh, just hold me. It's like, I noticed your wife isn't at work today. Well, she's not feeling well, ma'am. You need to learn to lie better. Ma'am? Because remember, what was it? They went on that run last night. Call me Victoria. He's back to ma'am now. So from there, she's trying to come on to him, and she opens her dress. What is it with the women this episode just disrobing? And I'm like, God, wow. Victoria's something else. Evil is all hell, but damn. So all I could see, Sam is like, man, he was kind of looking over his shoulder. I'm like, yeah, that's right, Sam. Look at the door and make a sprint for it. Why the hell he started getting closer? I'm like, this ain't Hamilton. This ain't Mariah Reynolds. Oh, I couldn't say no to this, but her body. I'm sorry. Lord, show me how to say no to this. Oh my gosh, she looks so helpless. And her body's saying hell yes. Oh, I couldn't say no to this. That's literally it. I said to myself that this was the last time. Next thing you know, it became a pastime. Yo, for real. I was like, yo, and in the preview, I remember when Victoria was kind of hunched over on the desk and Sam had his hand on her waist. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on here. Is he comforting her? Like, man, it's going to be okay. Or is something else going on? Well, now we know because he literally just went, oh, no. He actually turned her around. She went, oh, and then this fool just kind of, look. Again, they spent way too much time on the sex faces. It's like, oh yes, oh yes, I could tell I'm turning you on. Oh, man. So then we switch over to Lily and Bobby. I'm thinking, how long has she been on top of Bobby? Because this wasn't even a third of the episode when Bobby brought his ass over there. So, like, how long have they been doing it? Because that's when Donald walks in on him. He pulls out a gun, and that's the episode. Man, I'd have bumped this episode up to like a 6 just because I had more fun reviewing it than watching it, but I'm going to stick with a 3. Lord have mercy. Guys, yeah, this episode, they definitely should have cut it off last week because this week just had way too many characters acting just weird. So, let me know your thoughts. Do you think I was too hard on the episode? Did you at least enjoy my review? Because like I said, I really enjoyed reviewing it more than watching it because this episode was a mess. Next week is the mid-season unless they decide to slap on another 3 episodes, but whatever. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Like I said, like and subscribe, and if you want to donate, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time.